Look too short.
What?
Doesn't look too short.
Look at Amid Beis. Yeah. Okay. So Iboilu. So they asked the Shaila, yeah. Well, we can get stuck on. We get stuck right in the beginning here because there's a thing. Well, let's see. Let's say the woman is Iver. Mute Naftali, please. Iveras al das. If somebody is Iver on das, this is what we call das. Here means Yiddishkeit, Judaism, whatever. Look at the Rashi. Iveras al das. She's Iver on das. Yehudis. Das Yehudis. I mean, people make a mistake. You hear this, and when it comes to women's tznius, there's das Yehudis and das Moshe. So das Moshe is the Raisa. Das Yehudis is the hanhogas that women accepted upon themselves in dinim of tznius. So it's very interesting that Rashi says that she's over on das Yehudis, not das Moshe, right? Because that meaning it's mashma from that if it was das Moshe, for sure she'd have to get divorced. Meaning the whole Shaila, the Gemara Shaila, we didn't see the Shaila yet. The Gemara Shaila is if she's not behaving herself properly, so then is that a grounds for divorce and she loses her ksuba? So Rashi's learning it, she's over on das Yehudis. What's das Yehudis? 3 lines down, just it's kedai to do this Rashi. She'ena tznuah, she's not tznius. Yaitza v'roisha perua, she goes out with her head uncovered. V'tava b'shuk, and she weaves things in the shuk, and she speaks to people. Don't b'ksubis, the parakamad, the yaitza shalai b'ksuba. If she doesn't keep any of these things, she goes out without a ksuba. Could be from this Rashi is mashma that covering the hair is a derabbanan, not a deraisa, right? Because Rashi is calling it das Yehudis. Das Yehudis is not deraisa. Das Yehudis is the rabbanan, and Rashi is saying she's going perua roish, right? And that can make a big difference in halacha. Forget about covering with wigs. Just stop what Rashi is saying. Yeah. Okay, that's a major Indian there. So anyway, so back in the Gemara. Say, by the way, does
that mean there's a just on that point? I know we discussed this in the past. Is that I think maybe in Ksubas we discussed this. Does that mean there's makom? I don't know if it's an Indian of Yehudis, meaning what they accepted upon themselves. Are there inyanim of tznius that really goes busser every single makom by itself? I know I've heard this before, in the abstract, but is that true that there could be inyanim of tznius that is totally in every single makom, like minhag makom almost?
There's other das Yehudis that are totally minhag makom. Yeah, is that what you're asking?
I'm saying with regards to the halachas of tznius.
Yes. There are some that they were makabel it on, and as what do you call it?
So where do you draw that line between what's
that's the $1 million question.
I'm saying in halacha, how do they look at something that's, I guess, midaraisa compared to das Yehudis, which is more minhag makom?
Yeah, so that's the issue. Like covering from the knees on down, is that a minhag makom? Right. So that's yeah. But anyway, yeah. But that's totally that's the tumult. What's das Yehudis and what's not? Okay. So anyways, so here's the shaila. See, boilahu. There are 3 lines down. Iveras al das. She's over on das. So again, Rashi's learning that it's das Yehudis. So tricha hasra lafsida ksuba so ain't tricha. Does she need hasra to be mafsida ksuba? Meaning, do we have to warn her before we could say that she's out? Meaning, do we have to tell her, by the way, behave yourself, otherwise you're gonna get divorced and you're not gonna get your ksuba money? Or she doesn't need it, meaning you could no warning necessary. Just tell her that she's out.
So you married her and she was following halacha and now she's not, or she
Correct.
Never was.
The way I understand it is that she. Well, I don't know what went on when they got married, but she definitely stopping to keep halacha.
Isn't she already warned? Isn't she already warned by the very fact that she knows she can't be Ivaris Adas Yehudis? Meaning when the Rabbanan were misakin that she has to, this is the makam, this is meaning a makam that she shouldn't be doing this. Isn't that already a built-in warning? We're not talking about capital punishment. We're talking about losing on mominous.
Correct. So that
require
doesn't-
asra.
Wait, how many guys do you think know what Das Yehudis is? Let alone
I
women.
mean, every person knows that whatever their
We're not talking a Sheva Pruta here. We're talking a lot of money.
I
okay?
understand that, but they understand
So you
what
can't
what
just say, okay, since she's living there, she's automatically given us raw.
well, she understands the idea. It's sneas, right? People when she understands what she shouldn't be doing. You're saying she doesn't know that she's going to lose her ksuba?
I think you say you have to give her some raw. You can't say.
I mean, we're not talking about getting.
She wakes up and then you say, hey, by the way, you're being naughty, and now you can't get your ksuba. You're out of the parsha. So
It could be extremely darkistic also. In Farakaway, it could be the minigamakim is to cover from the knees down. And
No, so
Cedar,
what's that?
it's not.
Why does a woman who's talking to a guy that her husband told her not to need a hasra also? Why did that? Whatever the
that's
reason
because
is
she's
for
going to
that.
get capital punishment from that.
So what? But still,
So,
she
I
may
mean,
not.
If she thinks she's doing the right thing, he has the option in her mind to tell her what to do.
Most Jewish women do not keep Hilchas Sneas. So one of you guys are very provincial. Talking about, what are you talking about? Williamsburg? Most people do not keep it Sneas. Most Jews are not Shem
people don't keep
Shabbos.
sneas? That's a huge chiddush. I don't know about that.
Oh, it is? How many Jews are in the world?
You're talking about,
I asked,
he's talking about
from
not
people?
from Jews.
They're
They're
No,
also
no.
Jew. They're also Jewish. The non-from Jews.
I understand
Big
that, but
kiddush
we're
to
talking about
everybody on the
people that are in
daf. They're
community.
also Jewish.
I know some non-from Jews who are more tsanua than the from ones I know.
The guy in shul chewing his nails on Shabbos.
How would
I
any
sat
of you
next to
know
that
if
guy
you
Friday
shouldn't be
night.
looking at them?
I almost threw up. This guy, unbelievable. Guy was wearing a not gorgeous suit with a beautiful watch and a hat. And he listened to her He took a shave and a haircut before this. And the guy's chewing the whole davening. I'm mom, she was going to throw up on him. I was trying to throw up on top of it, but it didn't work.
I wish I had my phone to take a picture.
Anyways, listen, whatever the reason is, dude, the question is, do you give somebody a chance? That's all. That's why I understand it. Do we give them a chance or we not give them a chance? Right? So anyways, so that's the shaila. Oidilma tibai hasra. Maybe she needs hasra. Di hadraba, because if she changes back, she goes back to hadraba. So then she'll do tshuva. Right? Meaning the pshat is because we hope that she'll do her tshuva and then everything will be fine. Right? Fine. Okay, so that's the shaila. So Toshima, so the Gemara tries to prove it from our Mishnah. Arusa of a Shemeres Yavam. So we said in Arusa, if they're engaged, or Shemeres Yavam, she's waiting for you. They don't drink, they don't take the ksuba. Mishtahu the loishasi. So they don't drink haknuye maknila. But he could have kinui, right? Meaning she doesn't take the drink because we had the machlokes with the psuk based on the psukim, right? But he could have kinui to her lamai. What is the kinui about? Meaning, what's he telling her? He can't tell her, if you go hang out with this guy, you're gonna have to drink the drink because she's not going to have to drink the drink, right? So what is it? Lav siduk subasa must be that he could tell her, if you don't stop hanging out with this guy, you're gonna lose your ksuba. So Rabbi Eloi La Israel. So therefore we see that it must be that you're supposed to warn for ksuba. So my answer is, I'm Rabbi Eloi La Israel. Meaning, no, she'll get the ksuba. Well, she won't get the ksuba even if she doesn't warn him. Right? He's warning her because he's saying it's, we're gonna have to part ways. Right? But the ksuba she might lose even if he doesn't warn her.
This is Iveris Das Yehudis or Das Moshe?
No, the way Rashi understands it's Das Yehudis. Most say
I'm saying Yichud is Das Yehudis, not Das. Yichud is not Das Moshe.
No, but that's a whole different story. Is that even considered when he's alone with her? Is it Isur Yichud? It's not necessarily Isur Yichud. No. It's not a Isur Yichud. It's just not. It could be called. it could even be in a situation where it's not yichud. Let's say the front door is unlocked or something like that. But that still could be, and not everybody agrees to this, but that still could be her being alone with the guy. Right? Rapapa Amar, Lashkoisa Kashin Nasua. What it's saying is that he could give her a kinui when they're engaged, and then he'll make her drink. It will work to make her drink once they're married. Meaning, yes, if she can't drink the drink when they're engaged, but if he told her during their engagement, don't hang out with this guy, then she goes and gets married to him and then hangs out with the guy. His warning that happened when they were engaged works for when they're married, meaning he doesn't have to re-warn her after they're married. And that's what the Mishnah is saying. You can't do kino to arusa to give her a drink when she's an arusa. But we do kino for the arusa when in order to get her to drink when she's in a suah.
It was a lovely shitty.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so now we don't have any rayas. So then we're trying to bring another raya. Omar Rava, Toshima, Amana l'kohen gadol. If you have an almana married to a kohen gadol, grusha v'chalutza l'kohen hedjit, mamzeres and nesina l'Yisrael, bas Yisrael l'mamzer l'nasim. Right, these are all isurim. They're not allowed to stay married to each other. So loy shaisas v'loy noitas ksuba. They don't drink and they don't take the ksuba, right? Because they're not allowed to be married to these women anyways. So Gemara says, Mishtahu deloy shasya haknuye maknilo. They good, so they don't drink, but the husband, right, can give them a hasra that they shouldn't be miyachad. Now, what is this for? It's to make them asur onto him. That obviously can't be because hasir and bekaimen, meaning the husband can't tell his if a kohen gadol can't tell an almana stop being alone with this guy because otherwise we're not going to be able to stay married. Because they're not allowed to stay married anyways. So what could it possibly be that he's doing kinoi for? Elolav lafsidan ksubasam. What he's doing is he's doing it so that they're going to lose the ksuba. Like as we said yesterday, they do get the ksuba, right? Even though they're not allowed to stay married, but they would get the ksuba. The chayve lavin would get the ksuba. So must be the reason why he's warning her is that she shouldn't get the ksuba, right? So you see that in order to make her lose the ksuba, somebody has to tell her that she's not behaving. So, okay, so that's a raya. Some Rabbi Yehuda made diskarta loy. No, la isra labayil kibal. What it's coming to tell you is that the reason why it's going to be warning is because then it will aser the bayil the same way the bal is also. Meaning, if she was promiscuous, right? So then she's also to stay married. She's also to go be with the bayil. The Tanan Kishain. Shasuru lebal, kachasuru lebayil. The same way she's asur to the bal, she's also asur to the bayil. Right, so that's why. Who's a mamzer?
The bayil.
Why is he a mamzer?
What is she?
No, you
Oh,
can't. That's not how you make mamzeres. But
no. I thought it was mamzeres Yisrael. It's bas Yisrael mamzer. Yeah.
Yeah.
That unless there's Adim, how does it become Asra Bayil? There is no Bayil necessarily.
What do you mean? How do you know that the Bia happened?
Yeah.
You mean because she's not drinking?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe she's Maida. I
think it's a pasuk of Yaakov. It's Chiddush. It's a Chiddush in Saita that there's a din that even if she's not shasas, the fact that he already did kina in her, he asks her.
But he asks her on himself also.
Right, because Rashi says it's a Mishnah.
Well, it's a Mishnah later on.
Yeah. Kishem Shamayim Baikin.
Yeah,
There's
but
already
the Bayil gets
an
punished.
answer on him. I say we wait till we get up to it to discuss it.
Yeah, but he's asking a good thing. How do you know who the Bayil is? right? I guess if it's exeris akosu, then exeris akosu. Okay,
Is
fine.
this saying that the kinoy is asers her or the stira?
Well, isn't that one and the same? The kinoy can't
I don't
aser.
know. I mean, if the whole kinoy is to aser the bio,
It sounds like the
planning on their.
kinoy. Yeah, it
Sounds
sounds
like the
like the
kinoy is.
kinoy. Yeah.
That's just weird.
Yeah,
Nothing happened.
it sounds like it's a chiddush in the husband that when he makes kinoy, he creates this issa. Yeah. Even though they might have never done anything, but kinoy makes it's a mystical thing. It makes an issa there. Yeah. Even if they got divorced, it sounds like there'd still be a issa there. Huh.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. The royal, yeah. Yeah, okay, fine. So Amar Rav Chanina Misura Tashma. This is the last raya. Ve'elu shebezdin makanalan. These are the ones that Bezdin, right? This is the end of the Mishnah. These are the people, the type of men that the Bezdin has to get involved. Meaning the man can't be jealous on his own. He needs Bezdin to get involved. Mishin is charish baila. If the husband becomes deaf, or he becomes shaita, or he's in jail. So he obviously doesn't have the capability of warning his wife, so Bezdin does it. But their Bezdin doesn't do it in order to make her drink, because that we said yesterday, the husband is the only one that can make her drink. What they can do is they can make her pasa from the ksuba. Shmami no boy asra. So we hear from this that it needs asra. Right? So shmami no. So that's what we right. So we hear from this that yes, you need to give hasra in order to make her lose her ksuba. Right? Okay, so that's a strong raya. Okay, so what about the I don't know why the Gemara asks this here and doesn't ask this in other places. But kulu my time how come the first two tirutzim who attempted to answer from the other parts of the Mishnah didn't just bring this as a raya? Right? Meaning the raya came from our Mishnah. So why did they start with the first two cases in the Mishnah? Why didn't they also bring a raya from the Mishnah? Dilma shani hasam the lesla aimsa the baal klal. Maybe she has no fear of her husband, right? When her husband's in jail or her husband Nebuch lost his mind, right? So she may misbehave. She has no fear of her husband whatsoever, right? So Memela, they're not gonna, since she doesn't feel that fear, so Memela, that's why she misbehaved, right? But once they warn her on behalf of the husband and then she still misbehaves, then she loses the ksuba. I mean, it's a I want to say it's a deep word, but in the human psychology of halacha chacham, we're dealing with these, going to deal with these things, right? You hear what it's saying here? It's saying that the woman is not gonna. She has nothing. She has no intimidation from her husband because her husband's not around, right? So Mela Bezdin wouldn't give her a knas. So we don't know if she's really being over on Isurim. Right? That's what it's the way Rashi explains it. She's not really being over on Isurim. But it's not. Rashi says ve'enze pritzusa yeserta. This is not considered a major pritzus because her husband's added the picture, right? But if the husband be around and she's not scared of the husband, that's already a pritzusa yeserta, and therefore that even without hasra, she would lose her ksuba. So we're saying that Bezdin steps in. It's a fascinating thing. I don't know if a Bezdin normally takes that into account, but it sure sounds like just because somebody doesn't have intimidation, so Memela, they're not going to get knast. I think this is a taina for Bachram and Yeshiva who like sleep through Shachris or something, and then all of a sudden the Rebbeim come and tell them, you're going to get a knas because you didn't come to Shachris. So where were you? You didn't pressure me till now. You can't just walk in here today and tell me that I did something wrong because I wasn't intimidated from you because you never told me anything, right? I don't know if it's a good tushtel or not, but yeah. So anyways, but that's what it is. So that's why that's why the first two tirutzim didn't like this teretz. Okay, next shayla. Iboilu, Iveras al das. Let's say she's over on halacha. V'rotza bal l'kaima, but the husband wants to stay married to her. L'kaima ain't a l'kaima. Is he allowed to stay married to her or not? This comes up right? This comes up, I'm not going to say often, but off by a Balei Tshuva, where one spouse becomes from, and the other spouse is not becoming from. Right? One spouse wants to become from, the other spouse is not. Can they stay married or not? So
But here they want to stay. Here he wants to stay married.
Correct. He wants to stay married to her.
So
but who's going to listen?
Who's going to argue?
What do you mean? If she's not behaving herself, then they might have to get divorced.
But I'm saying Bezdin forces him to get divorced. He wants to stay married.
Right, but that's the Gemara Shaila. Maybe he has to get divorced.
David, let's say she doesn't want to tell him that she went to the mikveh.
Well, that's already more of a.
That's Moshe. That's not Das Yehudis.
Okay, so
I'm saying she stopped covering her hair.
That's her.
Yeah, that's okay, but that's a different thing. That's a different where she's not doing her duties as a wife. Here, I mean, I guess this is just as bad. The truth is, I mean, maybe it's worse, right? She's being Mizana potentially.
The same Mishnah. Oh, you mean why is this considered Das Yehudis, not Das Moshe?
Correct.
At least.
Correct.
Okay,
yeah.
but not going.
Meaning that she loses ksuba.
No, that's not what we're asking. Right? It's not what we're asking ksuba. We're saying that the husband says, "Yeah, I know my wife is she's a player, but I want to stay married to her." Is he allowed to stay married to her? Let's see. The Torah said it has to do with her husband caring, right? Because it says, Rashi says, "V'kineyes ishta." He was jealous of his wife. That means if he's not jealous, so then again, if you touch v'kineyes is jealous. But if he doesn't care, so he doesn't care. And he doesn't care. Dilma, even the kapid, if he's makpid, right? Meaning not that he's makpid. Stam, the default is a husband is going to be makpid. So mamela kapid, he has to be makpid, right? Meaning, do we say that that the average husband will not be happy with this, so therefore he's out, she's out, I guess, or do we say no? If he doesn't care, so he doesn't care. So Tashema. So then the Gemara continues with the rayas from our Mishnah. Then Mishnah is charish v'ayla oy nishtata oy shehayu chavish v'beis ha'asurin. V'yamrit. So these are where the husband cannot do the kinu. V'yamrit ratza bal l'kaima mekaima. But if you're going to say that if the husband wants to keep her, then he keeps her. Avdi bezdin midi. Can the bezdin do something? The dilma loy nicha lebal. Maybe it's not nicha to the bal. Meaning, if the husband can say he doesn't care that his wife is running around town, right? So then how can bezdin represent him and do a kinoi on his wife? If he finds out in jail, he gets a letter in jail from the bezdin, says, we did you a toiva. We did kinoi on your wife, right? He could send back a letter. I don't care. I like my wife. I don't care what she does. Don't say it's for me. What? They're doing it out tonight.
It's out tonight.
I hear.
Yeah,
it's one thing when the guy's in jail, but if a guy is a deaf mute, you could still communicate with him. The bezdin doesn't have to go on their own and do something. They can still communicate with him and ask him if he wants this.
That's true. But bezdin, I guess, doesn't even have to do that. So Elamai must be the reason why bezdin doesn't have to do that is because bezdin goes with the default of normal men, and normal men are not going to tolerate this behavior of their wife.
Shmuel David, until Helen Keller, they couldn't communicate with somebody who was blind, deaf, and dumb, and she only lived 150 years ago.
She was all three. Yeah, I hear.
She was only blind and deaf. She wasn't. She was able to learn to speak later on.
Yeah, but anyways, so I don't know what to tonight. I don't know what to say with that, Akiva. But anyway, so that's
Shaila.
L'chayra.
You say
L'chayra has something.
Would be his chus.
I don't know. I thought that today would be different. Let's say, sometimes you see that a husband's becoming firmer quicker than the wife.
Right.
Is that grounds for divorce?
Yeah, it could be if she's not keeping the din, then yeah.
Yeah, okay, but she goes, I didn't sign up for this. He became from her.
Anochanami. But if
But
he's
I'm
just
trying,
being from her, but
I'm trying,
she's
you know.
yeah, okay, but if she's from and keeping halacha, it's one thing. Maybe he wants to be a frumer than that. But here we're talking about where the bottom line, she's not keeping halacha. Right?
There are
Right.
many
because-
couples. There are many
but-
couples living nowadays where one is from and one's not from.
Right.
They have
Yeah,
all
yeah,
kinds
yeah.
of deals worked out between them.
Yeah.
I'm asking, is that grounds for divorce today? Today's different because I guess they didn't have this. Yeah, you have where
I
they're
don't know.
becoming religious, but they become religious in different.
Yeah, it
So
could be. But
is that grounds for
I don't know.
divorce?
I don't know how we do. Yeah, so the Gemara, that's the Gemara Shaila. That is the Gemara Shaila. Essentially. So
Or they
anyways,
just find a way and make it work.
yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
but
It's
me,
either they
my
are
dad's
keeping
not
halacha
from
or
it
they're
all,
not keeping
and
halacha.
my mom is. So
What?
they find a
Yeah,
way.
there you go. No, but see, but Jesse, in that case, where she is from her, that's easier to do. Here we're talking about where the lady is the one that's not the from one. That's already tougher.
You're going
Right,
into all kinds of hekatimsas. Each case, any case that would come up today, you have to examine it fresh and anew. We
Yeah.
can't just start thinking about, oh, how about this? I haven't seen Yaakov. How about this one? How about this one? How about Yenim? Make names also. Each case is a different case. You have to examine the whole
Correct, but the
relationship.
concept, but the concept, that's the Gemara's concept over here, 100%.
Okay.
But anyways, so that's what the Gemara wants to bring a raya, that how can Bezdin go represent the husband when maybe the husband is very happy with his wife being like this, right? So Elamai must be that the husband doesn't have a choice if the wife is misbehaving. So what our answer is, no, Stama de Milsa, even though Veras al Das, he may not nichale. The Stama de Milsa, the default is we're assuming that he's going to be happy if his wife is not behaving. We're assuming he's going to be happy that Bezdin takes care of him, right? For taking care of him. Okay, it's fine. So Iboilahu. So the next question. Baal shemachal al kinuya. If a Baal is Michael, his kinui, meaning he was jealous of his wife, he told her the kinui, and then he said, forget it. I'm not makani. I'm fine. Right? Kinuya machal or ain't machal? Is his kinui machal or not? Right?
The minute he made kino, is she asked to?
She has to know. She has to first be alone with the guy. Right?
So if she's not assertive until what is he warning her?
Well, the way Rashi explains the question is that because the Gemara doesn't answer the previous question. The previous question was, can the husband keep her anyways? So the assumption is with this question is that the husband can keep her, right?
Now it's my question: how?
Right.
Meaning,
whatever the second question was saying that he could keep her. Fine. Now the question is, but let's say he already did the kinui. Does he have?
He warned her, don't hang out with Shimon, and he did, and she did, right?
She did, correct.
So he's warning. Is she asked him or not?
That's the Gemara's question. He takes back his kinui.
What? No, I'm asking you. He warns her, don't hang out with Shimon. What happens then? Is it usher? Is she us? Not right then. Reuven says to his wife Leah, don't hang out with Shimon. Is she usher to him or not?
No.
Why not?
No, it's the first mission of the
She's not.
Masechta.
Well, she's
Because
not.
he warned her, because she didn't do anything about it. She didn't do anything about it. If she goes and she's alone, then they become us. She has to do stira first. Stam kino, he doesn't ask her. Right? Meaning, I hear what you're saying, Zev. Meaning, it really should say stira here, not kino.
Right.
That's what. Right, that's what he's saying. Zev he's saying a good point because not the kinui. A guy tells his wife on his way out to work. By the way, don't schmooze with this guy when I'm at work today. Okay, she's not also to him, right? She didn't. She why should she be also to him, right? The only times it comes us, he comes back from work. The neighbor says, by the way, your wife was hanging out with this guy. Now she becomes us to him. So he says, you know what? I'm taking back my kinui. Can he take back his kinui now or not? So it's really not
No,
his
she
kinui.
was already us with him.
Well, that's the Gemara's kasha. If he doesn't
What's
care,
the kasha? She's us with him.
Zev, because let's say she was alone with a guy and he never warned her, then she's mutter to him. A guy comes home from work and he sees his wife schmoozing with the neighbor in the house. She's not also to him. She's not also to him. Yeah, you need the kinui in order for her to become also to him. You need the kinui and you need the stira. You need both.
This
right?
kinui
So
has
now,
to be in front of two people. Has to be.
Yes.
Has to be in front of two agents. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he was a machlokes.
Depends who you hold like.
Yeah, it was a machlokes. But bottom line is you need the kinui and the stira. So now his wife went and schmoozed with the guy, and now he says, you know what? I'm taking back my kinui. So now it's as if she was never warned, and then they could still stay married together, right? Again, that it was the Torah was told in the kinui of the Baal, the kinui, and he was Michael. Or do we say no? Since he was jealous of her, you can't take it back. There's no backseas. Once he was makana her and she was alone with the guy, that's it. It's done. You can't be Michael. So Toshima, again, these are the cases who Bezdin does the jealousy on behalf of the husband. Any of those three cases. And if you say that the husband has the ability to take back his kinui, Avdinon Midi Dasi Baal Machlale is Bezdin. So what's Bezdin going to do? They're going to tell this lady, by the way, you cannot be alone with this guy because your husband who's in jail is not going to be happy with it. And then the husband finds out, he says, I'm taking it back. So then what kind of, Rashi says, it's a zilusa de beidina. It doesn't look like a fool, right? Right? It doesn't look foolish. They go and they're being makan, and the husband comes back and says, I don't care. What are you guys being so frum on my cheshbon, right? So must be that he can't take it back. So the Gemara answers, "Stomach the milsa the maskam al das bezdin." No, we're not worried about the husband coming back and taking back his kinui, taking back bezdin's kinui, because a stam person is going to rely on bezdin.
Rashi's mashma though that if he does, it works. So that's the whole sugya going with these cases. Mashma that even if you did a tanai, it's not like he's batal daikla it's a adam.
Yeah, but that Rashi is saying that
Rashi's saying he could be Michael. You could go ahead and do it, but he could go ahead and be Mavatal after.
Correct.
So it's mashma that at least on that side in the Gemara Shiloh. So it's mashma. It's not that's not bottled to them once the person goes ahead and does something. It's not stuff like the normal case of bottled diet to adam.
Correct. But then we're not. But Rashi is really coming from the point that, okay, if he's mavaza bezdin, he's mavaza bezdin. But the majority of men are not going to because they're gonna.
Right. So it seems like it's a tonight. That's it. The bezdin's doing it. You could go ahead and be mavaza.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, 100%. Okay, so we don't have that right. So then Tashima, this is going back. I don't know what daf we had this on, but when he's taking so the husband has to take the wife to Yerushalayim to drink the drink. So when he's taking her, we give 2 tamid chachamim. What's the reason? Because we're afraid that he's going to sleep with his wife on the way to Yerushalayim, which will then cancel out the drink. Right? We said if they're together after the stira, then the drink is canceled. But if you say that the husband can just cancel the kinui, let him just say, rabbis, get out of here. I'm Michael my kinui, and I want to sleep with my wife now. I'm Michael the kinui, so there was nothing wrong, right? Elamai, he can't do that. So Gemara sort of like
what's
turns
the raya? He can do that. It just he won't be able to be mashker.
Correct.
You can't have it both ways.
Correct, but then what's the point of sending the Talmid Chachamim?
Because the Baal said he wants to be mashker. How do you do that? He says it's Talmid Chachamim. If he wants, he can
Yeah.
go after her and tell him, okay, I was moichel my kid.
Right, but that's exactly what it's saying. Yeah. So that, well, the Gemara sort of answers what you're saying. The Gemara says, "Ma'ishna Tamid Chacham." So why do you need Tamid Chacham to go? Right? Send two people just to make sure that he doesn't sleep with her. So the Gemiri, because they learned it, because if the guy says, "Hey, rabbis, I want to be with my wife," I'm relay, so they'll tell him, so cancel it, knock out your, take back your kinui, and then you're fine. That's why you're sending Tamid Chachamim. Sort of like really turning the tables, right? Okay, so we still don't have a raya. So Toshim Adam Rav Yoshi Shlosh Dvarim Sachli Zeira Me'anshi Yerushalayim. And here we get into an Inyan de Yoma. Three things Zeira from the Anshi Yerushalayim said. Baal Shemachal al Kinuya of Michael. A husband can be Michael his Kinuy, meaning he can take it back. The Zaken Mamre, a Zaken Mamre is an older person who's a Mamre. He rebels against Bezdin, meaning Bezdin paskins one day, and he paskins a different way, or he doesn't listen to Bezdin, so he's Chayiv Bisa, he's Chayiv Chenek. So, but let's say Bezdin wants to be Michael him. So Michael and like Bezdin can be Michael him. Uben Saira Myra, right? That's a son who's going off. Sheratu Avi Limchalai, that his parents, excuse me, want to be Michael and like. So basically, he's saying Zairi from Anshi Yerushalayim saying that they're all three. They all these three things they could be Michael. And when I came to my Chaverim in Daram, now you know the Chaverim and the Daram were. That's the Gemara in that's the Gemara in Yevamis, the Talmid, the Rebbe Kiva, the five. Was it 5, 6?
5.
After the 24,000 of Rebbe Kiva, Talmidim were nifter. So he got 5 new Talmidim who reinvigorated, I guess, the whole Torah of Klal Yisrael. Right? So Kushabasi, we did Yevamis, I think, a year ago. No? We had this during Sfira in Yevamis, I think. Fine. When I came to my Chaverim in the Dharm, al Shnayim Haiduliv, al Zaken Mamri Loi Haiduliv. The other two they were moided to me, but Zaken Mamri they were not moided. Shelo Yarwa Machlokes Yisrael, because they didn't want to have more Machlokes in Yisrael, right? So they did not want to allow Bezdin to be Michael things, which is very interesting because you'd think Bezdin to be Michael would make less Machlokes in Klal Yisrael because they're Michael them, right? But they're saying no, Bezdin cannot be Michael them.
Isn't that why Rabbi Gamliel was Chayil from Rabbi Yeshua? Wasn't that the original reason why he fought him? Because he didn't want him to usurp the power of the Nasi?
Right, so I guess they didn't want to have that situation.
I'm saying, so that's back to the same idea. You can't have dissent.
Correct, even though the Bezdin would be Michael. Yeah. So Shmamino, Baal Shemachal Kinu Machal. You see from this that clearly everybody held that a Baal could be Michael on his Kinu. So Shmamino, yes, that is the case. Right? Fine. And then of course, so Taisa says, and then Mamela it's going to answer the previous question too. That the husband can, if she's not behaving herself, the husband can keep her. The husband doesn't have to divorce her, right? Because if he can be Michael on his kinui, on the kinui and the stira, he can be Michael if she's not keeping halacha too. Okay, fine. So it's a machlokes a rachan ravina. Chadam rekoydim stira machal, right? But if he took back the stira, if he took it back before the stira, so then it's Michael. Lachar stira ain't Michael, but after stira, it's not Michael. The Chadam or lachar stira nami Michael. The other one says after the stira, it's also Michael. When Mustaver commandam ain't Michael, and the svara goes with the mando amar that it was not Michael. Mimayim the Kamahadri Rabbanon Rabbi Yosi that the Rabbanon answered Rabbi Yosi. The Tanya, we had this a bunch of blot ago. Rabbi Yosi says, the husband is believed that he's not going to sleep with his wife from a kavachomer. Roman neither she bekares, right? Neither zachiv kares. The husband is neman. Yeah, when she's a nida, he's not going to be with her. So Saita, she belav, if the husband sleeps with the Saita, with the wife who is chayshid, was promiscuous, that's only a lav, like kol shekain. Isn't it a kol shekain that he should be trusted that he's not going to sleep with her? Right? So that's why you hold a 2-2-2, Talmid Chacham don't have to go with him. So I'm neither shekain yeshla heter. Neither has a heter, right? This is what we said. Why there's no isur yichud on a couple when she's a neither, even though it's a chi of kares, because there's a heter. So we assume that the husband could control himself. Tamer b'saita, but by saita she'ein la heter. Say it by saita that there's no heter, right? Because maybe she's going to be also forever. So memela, he doesn't have pas basali, as we call it. The amret lachar stira machala, and if you say that after stira he was meichel her mishkachas l'deyesh heter, you could find a heter for him, right? If he could be meichel her after her stira, so then there's a heter, right? He could be meichel the kinu in bal alashmamina, right? Meaning his whole taina was, well, there is no heter in sight for a saita, because if she paka slept around, then he is not, he can never have her back. So maybe he won't be able to control himself. Meaning by a nida, he controls himself. He says, "Oh, wait a week," or whatever it is. Right? Even though I had a guy today who said, "I can't." He's whatever. They messed up. They lost the badika cloth. She was going to mikveh tomorrow night, and the guy said, "Listen, we can't hold out anymore. Can we be makel even though we lost the badika cloth? That maybe the badika cloth is okay." It was mama. That was mama shashal. We can't hold out another day. So I don't know if this slugs up the Gemara, doesn't slug up the Gemara. But anyway, so the ibai machal leknui b'bal. So but there is an end in sight by saita. If the husband could be meicheler, right, or take back the kinui, so then there's an end in sight. Elashmami no lachar stira ain't machal. After stira, there's no mechila, meaning once there's stira, you can't be meichel. Shmami no. So we hear from this that you can take back the stira. I'm sorry, you cannot take back the stira. Once, meaning the kinui, before she actually is alone, you could do it. But after she's alone, you can't take it back. Yeah, fine. The next case in the Gemara is Mesu Balayan Achalo Shasu. Right. So if the husband's died, is a machlokes b'sham Yisrael in the Mishnah. If the husband died, right, this was the plural case, right, which just means one husband. If the husband died before she was able to drink the drink, so the question is, does she get a ksuba now? Because she's not allowed to drink because the husband's not there. So Beishamai said she gets the ksuba. And Beis Hillel said not. So Beishamai said, right? So the ashtar, that's meaning an IOU. If somebody has an IOU, it's as if it's already collected, meaning who has the power over the property. Let's say somebody borrows money from somebody, uses collateral, the field as a collateral, right? So now, do we look at the field as it's in whose property? So we say, if you hold it, a shtar that's going to be collected is already, it's as if it was collected, right? So Mamela, the woman is owed money for the ksuba. And if the husband can't pay her the ksuba, she gets to take some of his land, right? So Mamela, it's as if it's hers. So therefore, so they would have to prove, the husband's family would have to try and prove to get it out of her, right? So that's Shitas Beishamai. Antam Beis, Beis Hillel Savri, Shtar Oimid Legavas, Lav Kagavai Dami, a shtar that's ready to be collected on is not collected, right? Mamela, who has the money, it's considered the husband's. And then Mamela, she has to prove that she's entitled to the money. So Mamela, that Beis Hillel says, she has to prove that she was not mezana in order to keep her ksuba money. According to
What
Beis
about if you have an aid?
If you have an aid that what? That she was mezana, she wasn't
She was
mezana.
mezana, only one aid.
What?
You have one aid that she was actually mezana. Would everyone agree in that case?
That
Even
what?
according to
That
Beis
she doesn't
Shammai?
get the ksuba? That she
Yeah.
doesn't get the ksuba?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah. There's one aid.
How did she
No.
prove she's not Mazana? What is that?
Well, she has to take the drink.
Well,
But she can't. No, but the problem is that she can't here because she doesn't have a husband. Okay, so Mamela, she doesn't have a husband. So who has the chazaka on the money? So according to Beis Hillel, the husband has the chazaka on the money. Okay, she has to prove that she was a mezana. She can't prove it. Okay, so she's out. She doesn't get her ksuba. Beis Shammai says, no, she has the money. The default is she has the money. She wasn't mezana. You, husband, proved to me that I wasn't mezana, that I was mezana. You can't do that because the husband's not around. So Mamela, that's the pshan and the machlokes. Okay, muveres chavei, right? If she's pregnant from her friend, so we said like that. What was the case here? Well, it's not. The Gemara is not going on that case, anyways. So anytime it says v'chulu, it's going on the later cases. So this is going on on the cases of if the wife cannot have kids, either because she's old or she became sterile or an islandess. So we said as a machlokes whether she could drink the drink, right? Because Rabbi Eliezer had said that she could drink the drink because the husband can keep her as a wife. I think the Tanakama, I don't remember who it was, Tanakama said that he can't keep her as a wife. So if he can't keep her as a wife, she doesn't drink the drink. And Rabbi Eliezer had said, no, he could keep her as a wife because he can go marry somebody else to have kids with. Right? Some of machlokes the machlokes in the Mishnah. That Rabbi Eliezer says that she gets to drink the drink because he can go marry somebody else. That machlokes is where she is an akara, right? Meaning she can't have kids, or she's too old to have kids. But an islandess who never had the ability to have kids, loy shoisa, the loy natas ksuba. So there, even Rabbi Elazar's maida that she doesn't drink and she doesn't take ksuba. Shanema v'niksa v'nizra zara, and she's going to be clean, literally, which is be nucky, and she's going to have zera, meaning if she drinks the drink and she ends up being innocent, then she will have children. So Misha Darka Lazria, so only somebody who has the derech to have children. Yotzazu comes to school. This one, she ain't Darka Lazria. It's not her derech to be Mazria. So the islandess, since she was born this way, this is the way Rashi says it, the islandess was born this way. So she was never in the parsha of having kids, right? But Akara and Zakena was able to have kids. Now she's old. And the Akara was also able to have kids, and then she either drank the drink or whatever it is that happened to her that she could no longer have kids. So Mamela, they're in the parsha of drinking. Masha Ainkain, an islandess, was never in the parsha of having kids. So Mamela, she's out from the drinking. All right, so that's what we're saying here, that an islandess, according to all opinions, will not drink the drink. Okay, we'll stop over here because the next kasha goes almost halfway down the next Amud, and the Gemara is just going to ask on this concept of the islandess not having to drink the drink, but it's the last line of the brisa, but it goes through a whole bunch of dinim before that. So
and it doesn't mean the islanders can sleep around either. she doesn't have the heter. It's not
correct.
You're just not in the parsha of being of Sotah.
Yeah, correct. Yep. yeah. Anyways, all right. The Olam should have themselves a fine night, and sorry for the delay. Yeah.